All right, we are live. We got one people watching. I know that's you, Hazel Dan. Or as you guys all know, our live stream is not about a topic about how to collect things. It's just more of collectors coming together and give us opinions and just talk about comics and just in everything in general. Today we got Kingdom Comics. We got Comic Book Steed, Hazel Dan, and Comic Book Galore. You know, a lot of the OGs together, and just thank you guys for making it tonight. And we have a great topic, and I just will let Comic Book Steve kind of give you the rundown of the topic that we'll be talking about, and we'll give ourselves our true, honest opinion about that topic. All right.
So there's a comic book collector out of Detroit. He recently passed away, I think in December of last year, and he had been a hoarder of comic books, key comic books. He would buy multiple copies of number ones, and he would buy key comic books from other collectors, and he just hoarded stuff, put it in the attic, put it in locked rooms, put it in safes. He, of course, gave it to his son, and he never really shared it with his family. So this stuff is very valuable. For example, he has a Superman number one 7.0 slab. I saw that he had multiple copies of the first Ghost Rider. He had 175 copies of the first Brother Voodoo. And there's going to be a documentary about this next year called Selling Superman. So a Kickstarter is out. They started making this now. So because the son is going through the process of getting this all graded and slabbed, and he's slowly selling it through the auction houses like Heritage. You mentioned Harley Yee, and he's built a friendship with CGC. The clip that I sent to David was about how the family dealt with this collection. The wife was kind of resentful about the way he was hoarding all these books, and she eventually divorced him. And over the years, the guy just never wanted to leave the house because he had so much valuable stuff. They ended up just skipping vacations. So the family got resentful, and now that he's passed away, they have millions of dollars worth of comic books.
All right, but the key point is that this collector that who passed has a medical what how would you call it, a medical condition
Yeah.
that
He,
that it's a
so
medical condition that I'm sorry, go
he,
ahead, Ron.
he has a type of autism called Asperger's, but he's high functioning. He's actually an attorney by trade. But with Asperger's, you're so focused and trained on your specific interests. So in his case, it was just hoarding comic books, key comic books, one after another, and the collection is just massive.
All right. So now with that said, we can kind of get an idea of this whole situation, who that person is, what his condition were, and the situation that he put himself into. And I want to start with Kingdom Comics. I know that you served many years in Afghanistan. Um, you know, was it Afghanistan?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where you're going at with this. That's all I'm trying to do.
Well, the thing is that I know you have a PSP. Well, because I remember we had a chat years ago that due to your service as a military, that sometimes the collecting comic makes your anxiety and so kind of helps you in that way.
Yes and no. Kind of. It was more of my therapy because I used to have a me wall that was like military bound, right? Like all my awards and military achievements. And my therapist was like, "Yes, I'm gonna let that go." and find something that you enjoy and you put that up. And that's kind of like how I was reintroduced back into the comic, uh, arena and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think there was another guy. I think he was called Simplify Comics. He's also have served, and the way that he can somehow channel his his sanity was just more of focusing on a collection of comic book that really helped him. Like how what Tito was saying is like therapy. Collecting comic book really helped him. So, now with that said, I mean, I think we all have some type of illness, I would like to say it, because we all like to collect comic book regardless. I told myself that I would never buy comics, but I keep buying and keep buying regardless. It could be a $10 book or $20 book. You know, so I'm stuck with like about 20 short boxes of comic books. I don't know why, but I guess I like to call it is happy sickness. You know, and I can kind of see why this collector the topic that we're talking about is that how he got so involved in getting about 125 of first appearance of of what was that Dr. Voodoo.
Brother Voodoo.
Yeah, Brother Voodoo.
He's been collecting for over 50 years, and as attorney, he has that disposable money that helps him pay for those bigger books. At least for me, because there's no way I can afford some shit like that. But 50 years ago, and being an attorney, you kind of have a little bit more money than your average Joe. So, amassing a collection like that in a span of 50 years, it's with I'm assuming he's a successful lawyer based on the books that he has. So I don't think it'll be that hard with the prices that they were.
Wait, I'm sorry to cut you off, but do you hear the echo in the
Yeah,
background?
that's what I was trying to figure out if it was me.
Yeah, it's you. It's you, brother. See, now it's okay.
Yeah,
Wait.
I still hear
You
yours.
still hear it? Who is it?
I think it's you.
It can't be me.
Sounds like feedback from something.
No,
Like maybe there's another mic nearby or something.
No, I have nothing here. But anyway, go on, Tito.
The echo's gone now.
Okay.
Yeah, well, all I'm saying is, in the span of 50 years, with him being a lawyer, you can't. I'm assuming he's a successful lawyer, so I'm assuming that's not too hard to achieve. But CBA, you mentioned something that I was not aware of, but I didn't know that collection was handed down to his son. Because from everything that I've read or seen on his interviews, it was more of a kind of like an estate type deal where, the family member who the next of kin is the person that gets the collection. I didn't know it was actually in the will where it said you will now hold my comic books. So I was under the impression it was just next of kin, boom.
Yeah, I think it was understood he was going to pass it off to his son. His son knew about the collection, but he just didn't see all of it. The younger brother, the other son, has special needs. And of course, the wife's already divorced him. So Darren Watts was naturally going to be the owner of the collection. Unfortunately, though, their relationship suffered because of it. He was so overly fixated on it and taking care of it and making sure no one goes into the room and no one goes into the house.
And that's why when you said that, it kind of threw me off because I thought it was more of a next of kin type, that's how you received it. It wasn't actually named in the will where my son is now in charge of it because the way that like watched and read, it was a, I hate to say it, it was a fractured family, a fractured relationship within the dynamic of that family. So it to me, it's like, unless the pops was like, he's my kid and I don't care and what, how bad we are, you're going to get my collection and hopefully reap the benefits of, the 50 years of me collecting.
Yeah, in the interview, the ex-wife, and the son were talking about how resentful they were and how the relationships got bad. But now they have all this $1 million collection. They're okay now all of a sudden.
Yeah, they're wearing their little I'm a millionaire shirts and expensive paper. Yeah, like I don't know, like they got me all judgmental on that, man. I have a hard time like watching that family and listening to the kind of stuff they say because it sounds like they're kind of
like while he was alive, he was hoarding.
shameful,
Now that it's
disgraceful,
worth a lot of money,
Yes.
it's like,
now they're all like, "Oh, you did such a great thing for us," and they clapped on this dude probably for 40 years,
Mhm.
and then now they're like, talking about like they love him to death, and
I'm sure they do love him.
I mean,
That's like,
I don't know. I don't know what their marriage is like, or what their life is like, but it seems pretty petty to me. I don't know. And
it's just like the dynamic of how they viewed his
yeah,
collection changed from like hoarding
yeah.
trash
And it
to,
seems like when they talk today, it still seems like there's some kind of resentment there to a certain extent. Like they don't really appreciate the collection. They're just glad they're going to be rich off of it, if that kind of makes sense. They don't appreciate anything that he actually. I don't know.
No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I don't know. He could have been a jerk for all I know. I really don't know. But, I don't know.
Yeah, when I first got wind of it, it was all right. This is my optics that I get, right? A fractured family, guy collecting 50 years, hid it from his family, and then guy dies and family sells. That's my optics. That's what I'm getting based off what I see, and it's almost like, why? Like, why are you selling it? I mean, money, whatever, I get it. But if it meant that much to your pop, like, dude, when all that stuff happened, I even called my daughter. I was like, yo, so if I die, like, what are you going to do with my collection? And she just straight up told me, she was like, I'll keep some of it and I'll put the others in storage. I was like, okay. So are you going to sell it? And she's like, probably not for a while. I was like, okay. So then, that kind of made me like revert back to that situation. It's like, I think he died in 2020, if I remember right.
2022, I thought. Last year, December, I thought.
Yeah, he died last year.
Oh, so yeah, and I'm just like, dude, this sounds so bad, but I'm like, dude, as soon as this dude died, like, boom, I'm selling all this shit.
Yeah.
And CGC, I guess this isn't the first time, but it's not so much a pedigree. It's like a quasi pedigree where it's a provenance collection, which means that you're not the first owner, but because there's such a high grade and how long you kept it, they made it a special pedigree type deal where it's called the provenance and like the fantastic collection.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, that right there puts CGC on an incentive, right? Because all this money, you're talking about percentage values and that's what we taking in, and I'm just like, all this just seems weird to me,
And it's not just comic books. He was hoarding Star Wars collectibles and baseball cards.
Oh yeah.
He had like Steve Rose rookie card, a second-year Mickey Mantle card, and all kinds of cool stuff like that.
a lot of like toys too, like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Toys.
Can you imagine this family saying, "Oh, what am I going to do with this?"
Yeah.
Jeez.
So they poop. Yeah, they dump on it and ridicule it for decades, and then now that they know it's worth money, I don't know. I think it's just kind of sad, really.
But I also like thinking about the family. That is a huge collection.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge collection.
That's like, I don't know.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's again, we don't know the dynamics of the family, but
Right.
optics to me is like tragic. It's super tragic.
Yeah, it's really sad. And like you said, I mean, we don't know the whole story, so we don't know his side of it or what he was really like other than he had a massive collection. He didn't share it with Asperger's and stuff like that. So not really sure what kind of husband he was. He could have been, who knows? I mean, but it's hard for me to imagine somebody divorcing somebody over a comic book collection. So there had to be a lot more to it than that. I would like to think anyway, But
Yeah, there's a bad echo.
yeah,
Is that ours?
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm just gonna test something out. Hold on.
Are you gonna leave?
No. How's
You
it
should
now?
leave.
Is there still echo? Yeah, there's still echo.
Why don't you just leave and see what happens?
Put yourself on mute, David.
Actually, why don't you just
That'll
leave?
do it.
Yo, it's good now. Perfect.
Just stay that way.
Stay that way. Actually,
No,
you
it's
can
still
watch.
there.
No, it's still there, Dave. Is it me? Here, I'll
What about now?
I don't hear anything.
What about now? Is there echo?
No.
No, no.
Alex, it's you, brother. It's you, the one that make.
I don't
you.
think so.
No, I just muted you, and there's the echoes was gone. See, see the mute.
Oh yeah.
The echo's
yeah,
gone,
it's his,
right?
yeah, it's his one.
Yeah.
You could try jump out and jump back in, right? Sometimes that helps out.
Hey, Alex.
Hmm?
Just somehow is your mic. Is somehow something about your mic is giving the echo.
Let me mute it while we're.
Okay, so see, there's no echo now.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, Chad, it is. Yeah, we had a bad echo, but the technical difficulty happens to be the guy next
Hey,
to me.
Alex, see if you have anything running in your backgrounds. If you're running off your phone or your laptop, if you have anything running, turn it all off.
You can't be running
No, no.
Pornhub.
It's without.
Can't be running Pornhub and then this at the same time.
It's multitasking.
You
there.
can't multitask. The wonder we haven't seen Alex's hand the whole night.
But anyway, regards to this whole situation is that the optic is bad to a point where the wife had to divorce him because he was too just involved with his comic book collecting. But on the flip side, I mean, how bad can a guy be having, totally disregarding the wife for his collection? I mean, she probably didn't give him what he wants.
Here we go.
Yeah, but the thing about it, like, I mean, it, that kind of
What was that?
no, I mean, this happens with almost anything, right? I mean, this is like your typical husband-wife fight, right? It could be like for us as golfing, right? You know how there's like some wives that just does not want their husbands to go golfing or go out with their friends and golf, but we love to golf so much that we're gonna just not listen, and then you have this constant battle. Comics could have just been the thing that just got them, it's not a shared hobby, it's something that she will never understand. Like you're paying whatever X amount of money for cartoon paper.
Well, I guess the thing is, he could be so hyper focused in comic books, and that might put a financial strain on whatever they have going on.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but sometimes it's like, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody here, but sometimes even myself, when I was really deep into it, even though I know this particular thing would put me in a small financial bind, I was thinking, well, this is a good investment. So, like, I think if I make this struggle now, it's going to pay off. And for the most part, thankfully, I made some smart moves, but, you know, so it's just like one of those things. So I don't know what you guys talking about or who would happen,
No,
but
but,
it makes sense to me. All of this makes sense. Like somebody, like a family selling off your collection after you died. Yeah, it makes sense. Why wouldn't they? They don't care about it. Like they need the money. Like they don't understand your collection the way that you do. So to me, it makes sense. Like I don't know what's exactly is going on, but to me, it makes sense. Like
no,
why
it
wouldn't
makes kind of sense of, if somebody inheriting certain things that they're not really fully involved with or fully
Yeah.
invested in, yeah, of course, sell it. But the thing is, they resented the man for years or for decades.
Mm-hmm.
The son didn't speak to the father for decades
Mm-hmm.
because of his comic book collection. I mean, I wouldn't say decades, but I'm just going in years that they would not contact him. They had no.
Mm-hmm. And what you getting at?
It,
Doesn't
it
that
was
make the most sense to write? Do you want to get rid of it?
well, here's
You
the
have
thing.
this one
I know.
thing.
Hey,
You
dude,
have
I
this
think
one
what you're
thing.
getting at, and I think it's the optics of how the interview went with the son, because based off, the perceived they had issues. The family dynamic had issues of his collecting style, his hoarder style, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
At the end of the day, like you said, it paid off because it made so much money. But the interviews that is being conducted now, it's almost like that negative stigma that within that family dynamic was never there.
No,
It's like
no,
the funk, you
no.
know.
And look, I saw that video, and it just fucking hurt. It's to a point that I got so pissed off because the son was saying, "Oh, Dad, I wish you were here now to see
Yeah.
this." Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
What the fuck were you 2 years ago when your dad had the collection, and maybe you could have had a fucking better understanding of your father's situation and his collection, regardless how secretive the father was. If you just let him in, he
But
probably
then
would
at the same time, was he secretive because he didn't want to know he didn't want the family to know what the value was? And
fuck that.
he didn't want the
Look,
family
the
to sell
family
it,
fucking
and then
just,
now
the
we
family
all-
just
all-
closed the door on him. If my wife or my daughters would close the door on me, I won't tell them shit. And second of all, my collection, which not worth millions of dollars, but is something that I would probably would have, have Steven. I would say, you know what, Steven, probably would tell him to sell all my books and just, take certain percentage, and certain percentage will, give it to whoever. I mean, that's just me. But the thing is that they inherited millions of dollars of this fucking comic book, which they had a shitty relationship with the father, and the father to a point where he felt so, I don't know, so abandoned that he didn't tell his own flesh and blood about this collection that he had. And finally he passed away. The son gets it, and now he's telling people like, "Oh, Dad, I wish you were here to see this." They're like, "Fuck you," and and the wife too. And the wife is also like, "Oh, so and so and so and so." Like, fuck you too, bitch, because you know
See,
she's.
and that's the dilemma that I have right now is the dynamic. I mean, CBA, and I think it was an interview where the father had, a form of autism, Asperger's, right? So did that, because of that, led to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something he could have controlled. It was just something that just happens, and he has no control of it. So, I mean, there's so many different variables that can come into play. The only thing I don't like is the optics of what happened afterwards. That's my problem with could they sell it? Like Doom said, do whatever the fuck you want. But the optics of the family relationship, the dynamic within that family, to all of a sudden, I love my dad, this and that and the other, and you're just like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, fuck, you love my dad. Yeah, I love your dad because fucking he gave me a Superman #1 on a 7.0. And like, this just my only honest opinion is the whole thing is a fucking bullshit. I mean,
I kind of agree with you, David. I kind of felt the same way about it. It really, watching that wife and his ex-wife and his son, like it kind of, I don't know.
Well,
It's
that's
just,
what I'm saying.
it's just really
It's
wrong.
afterwards that I had issues with is
Yeah,
nothing like it. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 on this scenario.
yeah,
There's something
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
yeah. There's something wrong
And
with
then
it.
they're giving a
There's something wrong with it.
documentary and selling Superman, making fucking documentary called Selling Superman, and they're wearing Selling Superman t-shirt. I mean,
Yeah.
they're branding themselves now over the fucking death of her, ex-husband and the guy. I mean, just to me, that's just sickens to my stomach.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
It is
It's very
gross,
gross.
man.
They were
It is-
talking about like when he collected everything was private and in shadows and it was like hoarding, but now the son has turned it into something beautiful by sharing with the world. But it's like, yeah, you're
Not
sharing it because you're trying to sell
Not
it.
sharing.
Like,
He's
Yeah.
not sharing. He's fucking
Right.
selling.
Profiting off his father's death.
Connection.
Right, yeah.
You
well,
know,
I mean,
I mean, everybody's gonna do that. I get that. Like
and I can imagine like a
I
touching
understand
that and that
I wouldn't
big
care
would be
if-
overwhelming.
I just
but-
wouldn't care if I thought they like actually loved the man and actually had like. It seems like there's some kind of love or some kind of bond that was missing in that family or something that's really sad, you know.
I mean,
But I don't know the whole story. Like I said, this has brought a lot of. I've been really judgmental about this, and I probably shouldn't be, you know. But I don't know. It just kind of irks me a little bit.
it does, because the wife wouldn't give him what he wanted late night, and the son is pissed off because he didn't get that Big Mac that he wanted for dinner, and it's to a point where this it's to a point where I get it. Every couple has some type of a problem when somebody has a different interest, right? Like what Doom was saying was like, okay, golf. I understand golf. Once you get into the sport, you pretty much go head in first, and a lot of women don't understand it. But at the same time, the women also have their way of doing things. It's like, do you really need to spend so much money on a handbag?
Yes.
You know, do you really need to spend money so much on a pair of stilettos? Which, as a man, I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't. Okay, but as for right now, I'm trying to tell my wife about my collection, so she doesn't fully understand it, but she understands that it's my sanctuary. This is something that I enjoyed, and she respects that. And whatever she wants, I respect her. But this whole shenanigan
But then you
about
die tomorrow, and she's like, "I'm selling this shit."
no, I tell her to sell it. No, that's the whole thing. I did buy a couple of those traveler, like a James Bond 007 type of box that you can store like 10 slabs in there, and I bought 2 of them, and there's 20 books that I told her, this is for you. If anything happens to me, you take it, and I'll tell you approximately what the book is worth about, and you can go and sell it do what you need to do. Rest of it, I told him to take it to the nearest LCS and just dump it, if she wants to. But the thing is that I only does this because she supports my hobby. I mean, even doing this live stream right now, I mean, she would love to have me spend her time with her, but she said this is important to me. She knows I enjoy this, so she supports me. But that family, there was no support. There was absolutely no support. I'm sure that everyone in this panel has some issues with their significant other besides you, Hazel Dan, because you guys
No. We have different kind of problems. Like
okay.
we collect together and we love the same things, but
We get X-Men
I
1.
think that our stress comes from
we
like,
get Amazing
what are we going to get next?
15, or do we fuck around and get an FF?
Oh yeah, okay, Hazel Dan, that's a really good problem to have.
Yeah,
In
it's a
my-
great. I'm not complaining about the problem, but it's like we try to figure out what books to sell, what to keep, what to do this, and sometimes we have some disagreements on it. So those are, like you said, those are good problems to have, but it comes with its own, and we don't have anything to curb us in, So it's like I go nuts with something, and I just go nuts with it, and we don't have any checks and balances with it in a way. So sometimes we like kind of screw up and get ourselves into a little bit of trouble every once in a while. So nobody's there to kind of reel us in. So
Yeah, but when
it's not too bad there.
when
Yeah,
that is it, yes, it was to extreme to a point that this gentleman had a medical condition. Medical condition to a point where when he focuses on something, he goes all in. I mean, he's just there.
right.
I'm reading that wife probably knew that his medical condition.
Right.
I'm
You know-
sure it changed as he got older. I mean, like, even if you don't have a medical condition, as you get older, you just seem to be more like set in your ways. I'm sure just that medical condition exacerbated
Yeah.
it.
And it
so-
might have gotten worse as time went by and as he got older and stuff like that too. But
Yeah, but,
mean-
to a point you divorce the man. I mean,
yeah,
I think there's I understand when people get divorced and stuff, but I think you can really work through most things unless you're beating her up or, cheating on her and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if it's just some problems like that, you got to sit down and love your family, man, and try to figure out some kind of way to salvage things and stuff like that.
Thank
And,
you. Thank
you
you.
know,
Exactly.
you can work
It's not like
you
you
can, man. You can work through most things, really. And he was a sick man, apparently. If he was sick and he had these problems, he needed their love and their help,
Well, my hope going forward is the son will take the proceeds of the sales and help his younger brother, because apparently his younger brother has special needs.
Yeah.
And so I hope he helps him
Who
out.
was taking care of the younger brother all this time? Who?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I think
Nobody
that's
knows.
wife.
He's probably in another institute they probably abandoned that son as well too. They
I
probably
hope
abandoned the husband.
I hope that's not true.
Well, I hope not true, but that's the whole thing. Nobody knows where the son is. And the son didn't say anything
Like, why the fuck would they tell us?
No, wait. The son who's mentally capable of doing this did not say that the books that he's selling will help contribute to his younger brother.
But he also didn't say that.
No, he didn't.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know what it is going to.
No, we don't know.
It's going to go into his fucking back pocket.
I mean, unless you're going to honor him, we will never know.
Yeah, well, like I said, I would love to have him in the channel, but I'm just going to fucking just, pounce on him about the shithead he is. Not to a point that he's selling the comic books, to a point where that one phrase he said, "Oh, Dad, I wish you were here," right? And it's like, fuck you.
That really bothers you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I kind of think he doesn't. I really kind of think he doesn't wish he was there. Honestly, like I just kind of get the feeling that they're glad he's gone. He was a burden to him, and now they got
I
to
kind of felt that way too. Yeah.
Yeah, if that was me, I probably would have said, "Thank God he died. Now I can sell this thing and I can pay for my house, my mortgage, and just be straightforward instead of being so sentimental. Oh, I love you, Dad. Thank you very much."
Dude, nobody's gonna come out and say. Nobody's gonna come out and say that, man.
No.
Well, he did say he's taking his time selling stuff and getting them graded because it isn't a seller's market right now.
Well, not only that, I mean, dude, that's a lot of. You talking about what? 4%, 3%, 4%, 3%. That's a fuck ton of money you're dealing with.
But here's the thing. I think CGC is probably going to grade them for no cost, but if those books that they probably will grade will be selling and they will get percentage of it. I'm sure there got to be some type of agreement with CGC to give them a Providence label. Not a pedigree, but the Providence label. I'm like, come on. Somebody
well, I mean, of course, you see it all over CGC's Instagram. Superman X realized at this amount of money. This CGC this realized this amount of money. I mean, it's all
like
about.
Why didn't the Promise collection get this much attention? Like with the media and a documentary and all that kind of stuff. Like it's a much better story.
Well, because the brother, the son is the one that's pretty much financing all this. That's why.
Okay.
Right. It's a Kickstarter, and the filmmaker was an old school chum of his. So they're working together on this. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll make him more bank. Good for him.
Yeah, the Promise Collection is a cool ass story. Like I
Yeah.
want to buy a book.
Wonderful story. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Are we done with the selling Superman shit?
I'm done. I mean, it's just, I'm done. Alex,
Oh,
Alex, you have anything to say, Alex?
I think you guys covered it pretty much. I mean, the only thing I would probably add to that, because I'm likely like to play devil's advocate a little bit. I know that there's materialism involved, and the son probably has a little bit of narcissism going on in there. He wants to be on TV, wants to kind of turn this into a media sensation thing. But I think there's like private parts of their relationship that the public's never going to know about. He had, like comic book aesthete was saying, he had Asperger's, so he's on the autism spectrum. And people like that tend to obsess over things. You mentioned that before. And if the family kind of didn't understand that, it makes things difficult as far as relationships are concerned to be able to communicate with people like that. Now, obviously, you mentioned that he was high functioning and that he was an attorney. I don't know what type of attorney he was. Maybe he just dealt with litigation, the paperwork aspects of it. That doesn't really require being able to communicate with people like that. If you're just turning in documents and things and checking out stuff like that. But I would, I lean towards David's opinion on that. I think there's a little bit of some funny stuff going on there. And, we could posit 1,000 different theories here, but we'll never know absolutely for sure what the relationship was between the different family members there. I'd like to think that, I don't have children now, but my wife and I are going to start doing something. But I'd like to think that when we have children, what's up?
You should have done that something a while ago.
No, I'd like to think that my children will have a close enough relationship to me to be at least remotely interested in some of the hobbies I have. What is that? You don't have to be as into it as I am, but showing interest is certainly an indicator of what type of relationship you have with your children. If they ask questions about what you're doing, if you're a mechanic or you're an artist or whatever it happens to be, if they're asking questions, then they're interested in having a relationship with you. So that's pretty much what I was going to say. But I think you guys kind of got it. You nailed it. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, good for him, but fuck him. I mean, good for her, but screw her. I mean, that's just my. It doesn't. My opinion is just for me. I'm speaking out of myself that douchebag and the wife is a fucking is a bitch.
Well, yeah, the divorce. I don't know who initiated it. Did they reveal details on that, or was it just?
She initiated. She did.
Okay.
She said, you have to read the comic book. I'm leaving, bastard, and she left.
It depends on if you're willing to. I mean, if your hobby's interfering with the quality of the relationship you have with your family members, like it becomes a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like you're missing out on sporting events or family time, meaning like taking your family out and, doing something together. If it's affecting that aspect of your relationship, it can be a negative thing. And too much of anything is
be a give and take. You give, you take, you give and you take. But when the bitch just keep taking and taking and wanting, of course.
I'm starting to think we're not talking about comics anymore, David.
Because comic makes me happy.
I think this has nothing to do with this guy. Honestly, I think we've been talking about you the whole time. And I think you just been going around. You found this story and you started. I don't think this has anything. This has nothing to do with him at all, does it, Dave?
Well, maybe David
if you
hasn't.
need us as a group to talk to you, we don't have to do it live, David. We could always just meet in a room and talk to you. You got something to
you
talk
know,
about.
different people have different experiences, so they're going to have different opinions. And maybe David has a little bit of bias there based on those experiences.
I honestly don't understand what he doesn't get. Like, to me, it makes sense. The
It-
whole selling and the whole marketing of it and the whole glamorizing.
I guess
of
it's
it, like, it makes sense.
being
Well,
disingenuous. It's being disingenuous about why you're doing
yeah,
something.
for sure. But I
The
mean,
problem isn't
like,
really selling or
I don't think this has
me
anything
is-
to do with being genuine or disingenuine. They just rolled up on rolled up on some cash, man. I mean, like, of course they're not gonna talk nasty about their dad, or they will, or I'm just saying it makes sense.
Yeah,
Like you said,
I
it's
guess
not
the way
just-
it's
not just
presented
comics.
is a little bit funny because
Yeah, well, like you said, it's not just comics, right? There was cards, there were Star Wars
Yeah, there's
figures.
baseball
That's
cards. There's
right. I mean,
toys.
Anything collectible was in that collection.
Tito, he had the 1976 Star Wars freaking, in those action figures. You know? Okay,
Yeah.
Drescher, you agree with Doom. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure everybody agrees with Doom because,
Well, I mean, I think everybody agrees with Doom. I mean, dude's dead. Let's sell his shit. But it's just how it's being presented that's fucked up.
yeah,
that's what yeah. It's
Yeah,
if he would have said, you know
like
what,
said, the whole optic of it is
Yeah.
fucked up. But the thing
If
that
he
got
would've-
really sick to my stomach is when he said, "Dad, I wish you were here to witness this." I'm like, "Fuck you!"
all right. This has nothing to do with him anymore. This is self with David. All right.
I mean, that's just it. All right. I guess it is okay to, I mean, good for him, good for the family. But like I said, screw him and her. And
Right. He didn't have to go on the news and say, "Oh, look what I got." He could have just sold his stuff and
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
gave the money to the
but he'll
brother.
make a lot more money this way. See,
I guess.
we've
I
got
don't
random,
know, man.
we've got
If my
random
dad
idiots like
lets
us
me-
sitting here talking about him for an hour and a half. And he's
I mean,
gonna have
if I
everybody
never
watching
knew-
it. They can do the documentary. It's gonna be all over the place, and people are gonna go nuts over it. And all the crazy people that get the FOMO and all that kind of stuff, they're gonna go nuts over stuff. And
People do
Look at
like
us.
the story behind books. But
yeah,
to me, this is not the best story.
Yeah.
Like,
everybody's gonna go nuts over this, and it's gonna jack up some kind of prices on some stuff, and it's all gonna get weird again for a little while, probably. So
do you guys hear the echo now or no?
no,
no.
Okay.
no. All right. So I guess we can move to the next topic. Is that I guess the next one is, have you guys seen the newsletter that CGC has sent to all CGC members about the price hike?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your guys' thought on that?
I'm never grading anything.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to Rich. Like the blue labels, I'm okay with, and I'm only okay with it is because I only submit maybe 2 to 3 blue labels a year. So if I'm paying an extra $1 on 3 books, it is what it is. I don't care. What got me is the yellow labels. Like them motherfuckers went up like $6. And then on top of the $6, you
$6.
you also got to deal with motherfucking the
$6.
facilitator fees that went up. You also got to deal with the creator fees that went up. So blue labels, all you're dealing is with one entity of the whole grading process. But with the 6 series, you're dealing with several different entities.
But I think they went up across the board in general too. Signature
Well-
prices.
Well, signature prices are the ones that got hit the most.
Yeah.
Well, no, wait. Didn't the pre-screen that got all the reject was $5 a book? Now it's $9 a book.
It was $5 and it went to $8. Now it's $9. Or
Oh
will
my
be-
god.
Oh wow!
Mm.
That's nuts.
and
Nuts.
$6 in itself isn't a
Crazy.
lot, but if you have 30
Who-
books, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys. You think this increase in CGC pricing, is it good for the market or bad for the market? Good
What
for
is
the
it?
collector or bad for the collector? There's 2 questions.
Well, it's good for the seller because that means he sells it for it more.
Hopefully.
Right.
To
You
me,
you
everything
might
who
not get
owns-
buyers.
anyway.
Who
Everything's
owns CGC now? Blackstone. What are they called? Blackstone or
Blackstone.
BlackRock? That is
something like that.
Black
That
something
investment-
because he's run by a black man.
It's they're like a banking company, right?
Yeah,
They're
Blackstone.
an investment firm.
Because they used to own the Hilton, I think, at one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Didn't
the investment
isn't
firm-
Jay-Z the majority shareholder for this?
Who?
The
Don't
rapper?
really?
Jay-Z.
Come on, Jay-Z.
It's Jay-Z, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Jay-Z,
Anyways,
Jay-Z's
what
part-
the fuck's that got to do with anything? We're talking about damn signature series price increases.
Well, no. We're talking about where that increase is originating.
Oh,
Black
we all know
something.
that. They're no longer. Wait, are they? No, they're public now, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Blackstone or what's it called?
Yeah, I think that firm, that group is now public. So it's all about the bottom dollar, fucking
Yeah.
the investors, the shareholders.
Yeah, so the thing is, with anytime you're a public company or something, right? It's always about matching or beating LY numbers, right?
Yeah,
So it's all about, so if they need to find a way to raise, your average goal for most places is you always want to do about 10 to 20% above LY, right? So if you did $2 million last year, you want to do about 20% more. That way, you're trending, right? After a while. So, I mean, of course, they're going to start putting increases and price increases. And
We'll
Yeah,
see where
all
the
of these things.
threshold is, though.
I think what surprised me, the craziest thing is I heard, I was watching a little bit of the Pressable Defects yesterday, and they were talking about like you possibly getting, what label is that? Is it green label for now pressing and cleaning?
Really?
Or is it?
Oh, no,
they're
concern-
checking those now.
They said that you might get, if you get caught, like they'll give you a restoration. What is a restoration color?
Conservation?
You're looking for
Conservation or-
No, what's the restoration color?
It's
it
purple.
Green.
Purple. Sorry.
Is it
Thank you.
Conservation, no,
Purple.
conservation.
Qualified is green.
Green, yeah.
Yeah, qualified is green. Restoration's purple.
Yeah, no. That's why my fault. I guess I meant the restoration.
Yeah.
They said that if you get caught, like they might consider it restoration. I thought that was kind of crazy. Like, so
I doubt that because they offer that service themselves. Like, I don't think they're ever going to consider it restoration because
yeah.
they
And
do-
like I said,
they
I
do a lot of
haven't
revenue.
slabbed in a while, but I guess this is like the newest thing because I guess there's a whole thing now about the pressing and the cleaning where people
It's-
are kind of getting
I think
combative.
when-
And I do understand that CGG offers that, but
I think it deals with
The cleaning.
bleach.
Yeah. I think it's like
Yeah.
certain types of cleaning, like the
How you clean
blue
it,
lights
yeah.
or
How you
something,
clean it
like-
matters, I think. Yeah.
oh,
The
for sure.
You're talking about those Mr. Clean wipes, right?
I have
I
no
don't-
idea. This is like I said. This is just something that I heard, and it was just it was just something that was just said, like,
I heard
through
it's
the
some
wind-
kind of light.
through the
Like,
wind of the conversation, where if you're caught, I'm not too sure. Like I said, I don't know the actual
Yeah.
details of it, but I guess like
Well,
Yeah,
it's the chemicals, conservation, restoration, and all that shit is chemical based. So
Yeah.
if you go in and use chemicals to bleach your pages white
mhm.
and shit like that, yeah, that's where they'll hit you at. You know, pressing
yeah,
and
I
cleaning.
thought it's certain like lighting treatments, like
Yeah,
UV or something. I don't really know.
I think that's harder to detect. But if you're using because some people that have posted different cleaning videos, they take out that little Mr. Clean eraser,
Mhm.
and that has bleach in it. So maybe they could detect the chemicals with some type of lighting instrument. I don't know.
But yeah, going back to the original topic, as far as like people having price increases, I don't know, it's going to happen. So
I know. Fucking number one from Wendy's is at $10 now.
a number one from Wendy's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zippies don't give as much mochico chicken as they used to too. So
What? That's fucked up.
yeah, they don't give as much garlic chicken as they used to.
Man.
Before it was like a nice, same price. They don't give as much.
How about them
Yeah,
surf
I-
pack? They still give you 2 chickens?
Yeah, the zip pack is the same, but I mean, you can tell everybody's cutting corners, right? So, not cutting corners. Or is it cut? No, not cutting corners. What am I trying to
That's
say?
sad, man.
But yeah,
I love Machiko
cutting costs.
Chippies.
Cutting costs. Not cutting
But
corners.
I know magazines went down. Anything else go down?
The magazines, I think, went up.
Went up, dude.
No, magazines went down.
I'm still waiting.
You know why? It takes them 2 years to grade one goddamn book.
No, actually, Rich informed me that these motherfuckers now are in double digits.
My magazine is still there. It's been 340
It's like a
days.
year to get ours
It took
back.
a year for us. Yeah, some of our stuff.
340 days.
Yeah.
To it.
He was saying that it's double digits now.
What is double
So
digits?
instead of waiting 1 year, now you gotta wait 2 years, and they bring the price down.
No, it's less than 99 days.
Okay, well,
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting.
Still a lot.
I know somebody posted on their Instagram saying that they were waiting for books from like 2021 or some shit like that.
No.
Do you
And
think those, do y'all think
I
those
believe
price
it.
increases will help CBCS?
what's that?
Do you think
I
those
think
price
that-
increases from CBC will help CBCS?
Maybe
No.
marginally. I don't know. I don't know if it'll,
No.
because a lot of people like to criticize that company. They're like, oh no, it doesn't look as good, or the slabs don't present as well, or whatever it happens to be. And then the couple of screw ups that happened somewhat recently in recent history when they misplaced a bunch of books.
Yeah.
I think that kind of left a bad taste in people's mouths. So they're kind of,
I mean, CGC just straight up said, fuck, making it a qualifier book for that facility. Was it that Ultimate Fallout 4 Crane?
Oh yeah, that's a bunch of crap.
You know, it's money. Whenever the money turns, that's when you'll
I can't
see.
believe they did that.
Man.
Yeah.
So with all this increase and with all these bad, sad stories happening, do you feel that you are more tend to send books to get graded less now than what you had done before?
for,
Or because is it because of you already graded so much of your collection that you don't need to send more to CGC as before?
Right. I mean, I don't send enough blue labels to make it matter to me, you know?
I think I was in Kingdoms area at one time because I'd send like 4 or 5 books a year like that, just a small number. But now I'm not going to send any because of just bad experiences. I don't like it.
It will lower my yellow labels, though. I can tell you that.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't think the yellow labels, like getting stuff signed, unless it's certain people, it really doesn't add a whole lot of value to your book. And the fees that they charge are, I mean, they're pretty steep.
Yeah.
We looked at getting like Clayton Crane to sign a book, and
Yeah.
it's just-
It was pricey. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, you know, you got your CGC fees and you got facilitator fees
Yeah.
and then you got artists and creator fees. Like, you know, you're not just dealing with a blue label type fee. You're
Right.
dealing with like a spectrum of them fucking fees.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on with it.
But then again, that'll probably tighten down on what exactly are you getting signed, and maybe the turnaround times are even faster because everybody's charging an arm and a leg for it.
yeah. And I feel like it's different, like you getting stuff signed at a convention, you know, like you have that memory and that experience with it. Just sending it in to get signed, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It loses a little bit of
It's just like,
something, yeah, but it's still cool. But
It's-
there's no
yeah.
way to, you don't,
but
you
you
don't
don't
get
really
to,
have that
you don't get to
memory.
connect. Yeah, you don't get to connect with the artist. You don't have
Yeah.
that story. You don't have that bonding time, whether it be good or bad. You know,
Yeah.
you don't, yeah.
it's still a story. Yeah. It's still a story.
Depends on the artist. Sometimes the experience is kind of shit, but at least you have that experience, you know?
You know, you bring up a point where you say that yellow labels sometimes doesn't bring value to the book, you know, any higher than a regular blue label or something like that. But I would argue that and I know the pain that you guys know of, the logistics behind getting a yellow label. And a lot of people don't understand about that kind of logistics, whether it's, finding a hotel, buying tickets to get there, making sure that you are at the right place at the right time, how long it takes to be in that line to get
It's work. Yeah, it's like a job, dude. It's
And then
work.
trying to
Yeah.
find that facilitator to
so that's how I would argue that. It's like, yeah, okay, well, I'm saving you money to buy the ticket to go get that artist signature. I'm saving you the time by staying in line to get that artist signature. So, that's where the price increase come from. You might not see it like that, but that's how I see it, and that's why the price increase comes from.
And how much?
There's only certain artists that really add that value.
Uh-huh.
I mean, to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a personal, our personal feelings on it or
Yeah,
whatever.
they're all dead anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
they're all dead now.
and then you have to ask how much your time is worth.
Well, that's
If
what I'm
you- if
saying.
you're-
right?
if you're in a-
line.
Let's just say I'm going to use an extreme example here, but let's just say you're an attorney, and you're making $300 an hour, and you're standing in line for 3 hours. That's $1,000 signature, right?
I mean, yeah.
If you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
But Hazelden, I don't know when was the last time you went to a convention. I know we used to see each other a lot. But
Yeah.
a lot of these artists now are, man, I hate to say it, but they're becoming prima donnas. Where you go there and they, their schedule is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you would expect them there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. However, within those days, you only catch them. They're only at the table for like an hour or hour and a half.
Yeah.
In those days, and you're just like, the fuck, dude. And then obviously the line starts building up because they're only there for an hour and a half, and they got to cut it off. So
Yeah.
you might miss your turn being in that, in that signature.
Yeah. We've had experiences like that. Like, we've gotten a lot of signatures over the years from like celebrities and stuff like that too. Like we have collected all kinds of stuff. And, it's like that a lot with the celebrities. Like you wait in line forever and they're not professional. So like they're missing half their, I'm going to call it a shift because they're supposed to be there from, 10 to 3 that afternoon and they're gone half the time. You can't see them. Their managers are there, their handlers there and all that kind of stuff, but they're nowhere to be found. They show up an hour late and they don't come in at all sometimes. And I know they got schedules and they're busy and doing all that kind of stuff, but they should have commitments and there should be, like their contractual stuff. They should be professional. And, so we've experienced that before with multiple times, some with comic book people, but mostly with like celebrities and stuff like that. It's,
I'm seeing an upward tick in the comic world with that kind of stuff, where it's just like, damn, dude, you only hear from on a Saturday between fucking 11 to 12:30. Like,
yeah, that's,
Are they getting paid for that entire day?
well, it depends if you're. I think it's called a featured artist. If you're a featured artist, then they pay you to come in.
okay.
But I don't think any artist right now, maybe Jim Lee, but I don't think anybody has a guarantee in their contract where, you come, you make 50 grand. If you don't make 50 grand, then the convention will pay that 50 grand for you.
So it's just a flat fee. So there's no. Jim Lee says.
Know more
Jim Lee-
about that kind of stuff than I do. I do know that
Yeah.
he's involved. I do know that.
I think that's funny if it's like that. If you just say, "I'll show up for 15,000, but I'm only going to be there for 1 hour."
I mean, I'm sure there's people that do that. Who is
But
it?
I mean, these artists, featured artist Jim Lee. Okay, yeah, boo, wow, he was great. Oh yeah, he was part of so and so. But the thing is, who made him popular? Us as a collector, isn't it?
Well, this is what I'm
And
afraid
then
of.
his fucking head got so goddamn big. Say, well, I'm just gonna stay here for 2 hours and charge you $150, and if you don't buy my package, I won't sign your book. Like,
This is what I'm afraid of, Ed. the artists themselves see themselves as celebrities. So they try to equate celebrity statuses with, you know, movie actors and stuff like that, and see what the movie actors do, and then they turn around and mimic that same template.
Can I interject?
And the
Tito?
fees.
In the fees, yeah.
Can I interject for a second?
Okay.
When you were describing that right now, it made me think of a particular incident with I don't like Donny Cates. I'm gonna say that flat out.
I don't like Donny Cates.
I went up to his table. No one was at his table. No one. And it was the first day of the con. There's no one at his table. I go up to the table to get something signed. And he's like, he doesn't say anything to me. I put the book down, like, oh, can I get a signature? And then he just looks around. He's like, this is bullshit. He's like, and then he looks over at Scott Snyder's booth, and it's got like two-hour wait line. He's like, what are they signing anyway? That's stupid. I was like, dude, this guy is in a totally different mind frame right now. He's not there for the con or meeting people or not for the experience of the fans or anything like that. He's more interested in his popularity at the moment. Yeah, it's like, dude, this guy is like
popular. Oh, I got big head. Oh, wow. You know what? Fucking guys are telling you.
I had a redneck, the gold level redneck and the first print redneck. After I got done with that interaction, I got those books signed. They went off. I came back, and I sold. That was like the first yellow labels I've ever sold. Like that dude. Like my experience with him was like, dude, you're a piece of shit, narcissistic. I was like, dude, no, I don't want nothing to do with these books. Of course, it paid out at the end because I got a Adam Hughes Spider one, but yeah, that was the first yellow labels I've ever gotten rid of because of that dude.
yeah.
I got one story about this one artist. She's up and coming. I think her name was Solomaka or something. She did the
CMO?
Sozomaika?
yeah. Then you know she did the I guess what Catwoman. She did the Polaroid. She did the one that has the diamond.
I've heard. I know what you're talking about.
She was at the Emerald City Comic Con not this year but last year. I was there on Sunday. I finally found her booth, and she's working on her piece, you know, one of her commission piece. I'm standing there right in front of her, and she just kept drawing. She didn't say, "Oh, hi," nothing. She was doing that for the good 5 minutes. I'm just standing there with a book to have her sign something. And after I said, "Oh, hi, hey, if you're not too busy, I can come back." She goes, "Oh no, what do you want?" I like, in my head, like, what do you mean what the fuck I want? I'm here for your signature, bitch, but I didn't say that. So I said, look. So I said, oh, you know, come to think of it, I wanted to get your signature, but I have this Ultimate Fallout blank sketch, you know, facsimile. If you could do us like a very fat sketch of Miles Morales. And she looks at me, like with that disgusting look. And she goes in the back and she brings the manager out. And this one guy goes, what is that you want? It's like, I was just asking if she could do like a fast sketch with a signature. And she goes, $500.
I'm sorry, who is this again, David?
Sozomaika.
Huh?
Sozomaika.
Oh.
Sozomaika.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Sozomaika, thank you.
He just answered with a number.
Yeah, no. She called the manager. She's working on her commission piece, but the manager said, "Well, what is that you wanted from her?" And I said, "I just want to do a fast sketch of Miles Morales, if it's possible." Then he goes, $500. I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, "Are you fucking crazy? $500 for like sketch?" You know, and there's just a bad. Ever since then, I don't buy any of her fucking variants anymore. I mean, I got rid of all of her things because it's just a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, for one, like I said, this artist, they get such a big headed at certain time, and what thinking they're oh, I'm great now, so and so, and they come up with this chip on their shoulder attitude. It's like, what the fuck?
Even the red carpet is bullshit. All the celebrities now, everything.
Even celebrities, even celebrities, you're getting paid to act. You shouldn't be charging your fans $300 just for your goddamn signature. Like Robert Downey Jr., yeah, he's a great Ant-Man, yeah, I mean, you gotta support his fucking cocaine habit, one another, but you don't charge $300 for your signature for your fans that, it's just not right. And I just feel that this actors and actresses, yeah, they entertain us. They go out of their ways and so, but they're getting paid millions of dollars for making these films.
Yeah.
Why are you charging hundreds and hundreds of dollars for your fans to get your signature?
Yeah, we had a chance to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger one time, which I was totally, excited about the prospect of it and geeked out over it. And then he was charging his packages were like $1,000 or something like that.
It's like 500 or
What?
1,000.
It was like 500. Yeah, like
it was
it
1,000.
was like 1,000 for the whole package, and you got like a couple of signatures and something
First it was
else.
just one. Then I
Yeah.
think they got a lot of pushback, and then
Yeah.
they did it.
Nobody's doing it. So well, we're throwing another signature. I'm like, yeah, it's still $1,000.
Wow.
And you Hazelland, you talking about Animal City, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you hear what happened?
No.
No.
What?
That's what he bankrupted Animal City because of the guarantee.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he only going to be there like that one day?
Yep. Yeah, I forgot what the guarantee was, but because of the prices were so high for a signature and autograph and all of that,
Yeah.
he didn't get as many as Animal City thought he was going to get. So Animal City had to pay him out.
$1,000 is kind of insane.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that.
All the
yeah.
comments were like
Yeah,
people
everybody's
complaining.
mad
like,
about it, and I was like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
so, wow. They had to.
didn't they drop the price or add an extra picture or some shit like that?
Yeah, they added an extra picture, like, but you started to pay like
Yeah.
$1,000. Like, well, we'll
Because
go
at
ahead
first
and
it was just one signature, and then
Yeah.
like all the little BS stuff, like the lithograph and
Yeah. the little $5 items and stuff like that amount to.
yeah.
I was working Jim Lee's line that year.
But I know that Harrison Ford charges $500 a signature.
I know he used to. I don't know if he still does.
I heard it went up.
It went up,
but-
yeah. I thought
$500 for a signature?
Yeah, that's
It's
crazy.
not like he's a Richard Mantle or fucking Babe Ruth. It's not like $500 for a signature. What?
Hey,
I don't think
hey,
it's a signature. I think
Hey,
it's just a
it's
personal
India.
experience.
don't
that
talk
they
like that
paid
about
for.
Indiana Jones. It's Indiana Jones. It's my childhood hero.
Hey,
Man.
hey, talking about India, hey, Doom, the king of the Golden
That's,
State said, why are you
Han
ignoring
Solo.
the star of the show, Doom 1 for 3?
You guys get Alex comic order, David.
Yeah, but 500, I just don't get it, man.
That's
It's like-
Han Solo, man. It's Indiana Jones. Can't mess with him.
Well, I guess so, because as
Give
a
me an
sports
actor then,
card
give me an
collector
actor.
myself,
Uh-huh.
What actor?
what?
Give me an actor that you'll pay $5 for them.
No,
you don't think it's Harrison Ford.
$500 bill? That's the thing. I wouldn't pay anybody $500 bill.
But he probably signs his fan stuff for free or whatever. So.
If I had the money, I would have done Arnold Schwarzenegger. If I had the money, I would have done Ben Affleck.
I thought about it, man. Like, and then after I didn't do it, I was like, man, I would love to have like a Predator poster or something like that signed, or Terminator. How cool that
Yeah.
would be. But
If I had the money,
no,
I would have done
I got better things
Yeah.
to spend $1,000 on, though, man. I think.
But
I'm just saying
But
that.
for $500, I have to have like a personal experience with a superstar athlete.
Yeah,
It
well,
probably
yeah.
would be Michael
If I
Jordan.
had $500, then I got to meet the dude or do that face to face. Like, that's not a send in.
Yeah, for
But even
500,
the personal experiences
Yeah,
really
Michael
aren't
Jordan.
educational.
You think a personal experience with Michael Jordan is only worth $500?
yeah.
Are you crazy?
Why
Or
Why would it be so
a non
crazy to have-
basketball player is going to be like, why would I pay $500 for Michael Jordan?
What
Like,
is that?
it's all like perspective.
Yeah, I
If you're
know,
not,
but
if you're not a ball player, then you know,
I get it, but what I'm saying is, paying $500 for if I have to meet a person to person experience and have that person's signature, get his signature, $500 would be Michael Jordan. And that's
Yeah,
just it.
I would have to say that Michael Jordan would be an exception. Like he's on another level.
Tom Brady, hands down.
I knew that was coming.
Wow.
that's
see, I wouldn't even pay $100 for Tom Brady, but that's just me.
Yeah. No,
I'm
she
just
loves
saying,
Tom
man.
Brady. Yeah.
I think I remember some guy on YouTube doing something with Jim Lee recently. I think he spent like $10,000 for an afternoon with Jim Lee, and then a
That's
piece of art.
ridiculous.
I think no, but it included like I think I don't know if it was a 14 by 12 piece of artwork, original or something like that.
Yeah.
Like an original sketch
I would say that's
included with the
probably worth it.
luncheon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that might be worth it.
Okay, for $10,000 for Jim Lee experience, having dinner and sleeping with him, and you'll get a personal commission. I think that's pretty worth it because just the art alone, you probably will get a few $1,000, right?
Does $10,000 give you the big spoon or the little spoon?
Oh, that's a little bit.
Mine will be the little one.
You get the little spoon.
Yeah.
The little one.
It's like 15 for Big
But-
Spoon, I think.
Big spoon is 15. It's got to be, right?
That's what I heard.
15.
That's what somebody told me. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, David. I mean, I don't know. $500 sounds about right for a forged signature. I think you better put it on something that's, worth it.
What would that be, though? What would-
Is that a personal experience or is that a metal way?
What are you talking?
The 500. He's saying the 500.
Read this comment, Ron.
I think it's
I don't know.
Yeah.
I pay I pay 10 times that much
Exactly.
for the personal experience.
The big spoon experience.
I think he has something else on his mind.
Well, that's the thing. It's like $500, but are you talking about mail away or are you talking about meet and greet?
A mail order bride or nah.
Yeah.
$500.
Here's the thing. When you go to a con, okay, Tito, you probably went through the celebrity photo ops and signature, but I seen how that works. I mean, you pay what $300 to $300 average, I guess.
I've
To
never
have a
paid
photo op
$300
and the signature?
for it all.
How
I
much?
never paid $300 for a single photo op or signature.
Well, there was this photo op, this recent Emerald City Comic Con. I think what's his name? Mark Ruffalo was here, and it was only available on Saturday, Sunday. And if you buy his package, was at close to $350 for a photo op and a signature.
See, oh, you're talking about 170 each. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad actually.
But,
And
I
you
mean,
wouldn't get 500
but
though.
the thing is, the experience that you have with him, it's not like you get to talk to them like how you would with the artist when you go there with like Chris Claremont.
Well, you don't know
Well,
that. Like, some celebrities actually stall the line so you could talk to them.
I don't know, man.
Not
The
every
shit that I
photo
saw
op or
behind the
signature
stage,
like Stan Lee, where you are getting shuffled along.
yeah, there's like take a picture. Okay, next, like every 2 seconds, there's like new couple coming in. You know, it's,
I hate photo ops. I
no,
can't
so what I'm
stand
saying is,
photo ops.
how personal is that? How personal is that for you to spend not more than 2 minutes and you spend
It's
$300?
insulting.
You know,
Yeah.
for
Depending on who you're taking a picture with, man. I'll tell you right now, that Stan Lee photo I have with me, my wife, my son, and Stan Lee is super fast. But you know what? I have that photo.
Yeah.
I have
It's
that
only
thing
2
forever,
seconds.
bro.
Yeah.
I have that thing forever, bro.
Yeah.
Like I literally can say I have a photo with me and Stan Lee. I have
look,
a
I can
signature
photo
with
op
Stan Lee.
that too.
I'm just saying, like that the line was an experience. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I was waiting in line, but that was part of the experience. Like everything was part of this like experience. Like I got to meet
Mhm.
this legend. Like there's no other title but legend. And I got to meet him for 2 seconds or 3 seconds. I got to take a picture. Well, what was I going to expect? To have a conversation with him? What was I going to talk to him about? You know what I mean? So it's just like, it doesn't even matter. It's just being there in that moment and
Like-
being there in that situation. And whatever the cost was, it was worth it. It was totally worth it. So
And that's
it depends.
Stan Lee.
It depends. It depends. I think for like Clayton Crane,
Yeah.
like yeah, yeah, you know, like but you know, somebody like, well, I think they're all dead now. You know, all the ones I care about.
When I met Rosario Dawson, yeah, I had a photo op and a signature. The photo op was literally like a Stan Lee photo op where you go in, take a picture, and you bounce out. But the signature, you know, we actually spoke for probably, I don't know, like a good minute and just talked about shit. And then you
And
press
how
stop.
much you pay for it?
I think it was 120 and
Is
either
that before
150
or after?
170.
Okay, time out. Is that before or after Mandalorian?
That was a Megacon, right?
Yeah, that was at MagCon. That was
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's not
Yeah.
bad.
And
So
what
you
was-
literally paid dollar per minute, per
Well,
second.
What pissed me off is they actually had a package with Rosario Dawson and Hayden Christensen, but they canceled that package like a week before fucking MagCon.
What?
You don't need them.
But and vice versa though, when I got Hayden Christensen to sign my figure, that was a shuffle. Like, hey, how you doing? Signed by. Like, I literally had enough time to say, hey, thanks for coming back to Star Wars. He looked up, he smiled, and boom, I was gone.
That reminds me of Stanley when he signed my AF-15. He looked at it and he goes, "Nice book." That's it. Just nice book.
Yeah.
Good book. He goes, "Oh yeah, good book." Signed. That's
But, I mean, it's all about what the experience.
good book.
Like Rosario Dawson, I would pay more to meet her and get her signed, just because I've been digging her since like '95.
Yeah, and Dim, I agree with you. Like we've met Stan Lee a few times, and every time it was just a joy every time. And I'll never forget. Like when it was brief or whatever, and he had like 200, 300, like the line all the way out the door one time, and had to wait in line for like 3 or 4 hours, and it was just okay. It was like it was okay though. We were talking to people outside that whole time and clicking with people, and you finally get to meet him. It was the first time I ever met him, and it was an emotional. It was a great experience. It was short and brief or whatever, but I'll never forget that day, man. It was really cool.
tell
I'm
you what,
surprised you didn't go to that New Year's Eve thing that was up in Dallas.
I went to the breakfast with Stan. We went to the breakfast with Stan Lee, which was pretty amazing.
Oh, for that New Year's Eve?
I don't know if it was New Year's Eve.
No, that was at a like Fan Expo.
Yeah, I was at a Fan Expo.
Oh,
How much was that?
Priceless.
Something.
300 something, I think.
well, I say that because I think, David, you made a comment on the picture I posted. I think that was the most personal time. I literally had the whole line to myself while talking to Stanley. Like nobody was there. And I talked to him for like a good 30 minutes before
That's
fucking.
amazing.
he
It
was
was
done.
really fun. Like his hearing wasn't all that good, so I mean, we talked to him, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
I'll tell
It was
you what,
so great,
for
though.
the price,
Yeah.
and for the, I don't know, the conversation, I don't think there's anybody better than George Perez, though.
Oh, really?
For who?
George Perez.
Oh yeah.
I think for the price and just the conversation that you have, I don't think there's anybody better than George Perez.
Well, I don't know, man. I talked to Steve. We had lunch with him. We talked, but
That's cool.
yeah, with Stan Lee in Hawaii. He's a manager at
He came
New
over?
York. His
Different
name
standard.
is Stan Lee.
Just the Asian,
Just the Asian,
the
the Asian guy who works at Christian Dior happens to be Stan Lee, and so I had lunch with him at least once a week.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
out of all the creators I met, the worst was Rob Liefeld for sure. Well,
Oh, for me
him,
too. Oh.
him and Neil Adams was kind of like
Donnie
almost.
Cates
the
will
same.
always be my worst.
That is
But
like the opposite for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Liefeld was one of our best
Liefeld was one of
experiences.
the best meet and greet experiences that I've ever had at a Comic
well,
Con.
I'm glad you guys
For
had.
me,
that,
it was
because-
Chip Zdarsky. I had a really good experience with Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah. Rob Liefeld, we went to the first one that he ever did, and it was a meet and greet, and he didn't, I guess maybe he's different now or something, I don't know, but man, he sat there for an hour and
You
talked.
didn't know how to do it, so like
Because I don't know how this works, so I'm
What do
just
you
going
mean
to
he didn't know how to do it? Do what?
yeah.
It was like the first time he'd ever done
Yeah,
one,
so
so
he's
he's like,
I've never done like one
so
of those
I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do here.
experiences, so
he goes, so he talked to every single person.
everyone got to ask a question,
Everyone got to ask a
and he
question.
like answered in depth, telling stories. His
Yeah.
son was there, like
Yeah, and the son was
It was-
really nice,
yeah.
and it was just kind of cool, man. He was really
Which
cool to
Rob
everybody.
Liefeld did
Nice.
you guys get?
Who was that? Who was that?
I'm high feeling good. Like,
Which Rob
Yeah.
Liefeld did you guys get? You guys got
Yeah, it was-
a stunt double?
we got a good. I don't know. We got a good version of him. That whatever
he
it was, like,
friendly,
he
like,
was really
he was,
nice,
like,
and
yeah.
he was very cool. Yeah,
What
and he
year
took.
was this?
You know what
I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago. But he took the time with everybody. It was a good. It went over by 30. Like he went 30 minutes, 20 minutes over, something like that, or
Yeah.
more. And he spent time with every single person and talked. He talked to me, and he talked to, my wife, and everybody in that room. Each individual person at every table, he had a conversation with everybody.
Yeah.
It took forever, and it was just really personal. It was the only personal experience that I've ever had with any celebrity ever that was actually personal. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like everyone had to ask him a question, but he would like go off in tangents and like there were
I'm glad-
always like really in depth, like long answers and stories, and it was just
Glad-
it was really cool.
I'm glad somebody got that experience because
Yeah, it was a.
I didn't.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Dude, the I guess the experience that I kind of felt disappointed was with Adam Hughes.
Yeah, that's too
Disappointed?
bad.
Yeah, disappointed was Adam Hughes.
Why is that?
He's an introvert, and I didn't know he was an introvert. So it was
He
hard.
doesn't seem.
to push
He
the
doesn't come off of it, huh?
Yeah, it was hard to push a conversation from him. Like I was going through every trick I had, and I just couldn't pull a conversation. I was just like, I appreciate it, bye.
My experience with him was very nice. I met him and his wife. He did a sketch for me. He signed on my books. And when he did the talk, it was just very nice. It was a good experience for me.
Yeah, he just looked down, and I was just like, all right, dude, well, all right.
I gotta say, my favorite Steranko though. I met him twice, and at
That guy's
first
a showman.
yeah,
He's a
he-
showman.
Yeah, he insults you at first, and you
Yeah.
feel bad, and then he makes you feel okay, and he signs your stuff.
He's got a little bit of that gangster vibe.
yeah.
He
He'll hurt
kinda
your blood
does.
too. Yeah,
I had a good experience with Claremont. I remember Claremont being a pretty
oh, Claremont's
decent guy.
good.
Claremont was a pretty decent guy.
Mr. Talk a Lot.
Yeah, Neil was interesting. Neil Adams, it's like you put him in convention settings, no good. You put him in a small comic book store setting, best guy ever.
I think that's okay. You just answered something that I was curious about, because a lot of people told me that their experiences with him weren't the best. But when I spoke with him, he was a very warm and accommodating person. Like we talked probably for about 20 minutes, but that was because no one was in line. No one was there. It was just him and me, and I was the only person there. So he was open to that. So maybe that was part of it.
Neil Adams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always had good interactions with Neil.
I never had a good interaction with Neil.
That's
He
too
was always just kind of rude and abrupt and nonchalant, and didn't seem to care about being there at all.
Were there
Yeah, I like him. I think he's done a lot for the industry, and I have the utmost respect for him. And he's a nice guy, I guess, and he's done a lot for the comic book industry and everything like that. But he was just kind of indifferent and didn't seem to kind of care about being there. And
Was there a line?
no, nobody was there.
Wow.
He was in the
Okay.
middle of the whole thing, and I was excited as all get out to meet Neil Adams. You know, he's a legend and all that kind of stuff. Love his stuff, and it was just, you know, like extracting teeth. It was just kind of weird.
I think it's
Yeah,
maybe he's like hit or miss then.
yeah. it
Depends
might
on
be.
what day you get him. Huh?
People,
Maybe it
right?
depends on how you
Yeah.
start
They
the
have good
conversation.
days
They're
and
human
bad
beings.
days. Like,
How do
I
you
heard
start
Chuck
the
Norris was a
conversation?
jerk.
One of the things that I admire.
I'm
What-
Neil Adams. I'm legend of my own time.
Well, he is.
Oh, no.
Jeez.
I was gonna say one of the things that I admired about his career, right, was getting the credit for Jerry Siegel and Joe
Yeah.
Schuster.
That's what I'm
So
talking
that
about.
was the big
Yeah.
thing.
That was a really great thing to do.
Well, he also
I got
Oh,
Jerry
yeah.
Siegel to be recognized for Superman. I'm Neil Adams. Oh, look at me. I'm a legend. That's all.
David, he
I
was
don't.
a
I don't
legend.
think you meant
He
Neil
was.
Adams. I've never seen. I'm Neil Adams. I was like, I don't think you meant
He
Neil
has
Adams.
such a big head. Like, he got to use his two hands to balance his head. Oh, I'm Neil Adams. Ooh. No.
See, I've never dealt with him like that though. Like
I think you're confusing it with Bob Kane.
I think you're
Bob
confusing
Kane,
him with
never met the guy. Never met the
Yeah,
guy.
I heard a story about how
There's
Jim
some
Steranko
guys that
slapped
met-
Bob Kane in an elevator.
What
Did y'all
was
hear
that?
that story? Supposedly,
I heard
Jim
the
Steranko-
story between Bob Kane and Steranko.
Yeah, apparently Jim Steranko slapped him in an elevator.
Nice.
Damn.
That started. Do you know what that started with though?
No.
Okay, so here's the whole story that I understand. And this is from a number of different sources, so it kind of corroborates things. Jim Steranko, I think, saw Bob Kane at a convention, and he walked over to say hello. And I guess Bob Kane was like, kind of overstepped his boundary and smacked him on the back really hard to where you could like see him kind of jar him a little bit. And Steranko wasn't prepared for that type of thing, and it pissed him off a lot. But there were a lot of people around, and the situation kind of like got away from itself. And later on, when he found him, he saw him later, and then he's like, "Hey, Bob," and he smacks him across the face. He always held on to that moment and was waiting for that opportunity. Hey, how you doing, Bob? And he comes up to him and smacks him like that
Okay.
across the face.
You're like, what did the hand say to the face?
Slap!
Freaking nerds.
Oh man.
Freaking nerds.
Hey, I got one topic that I want to talk about. Is this new FOMO book that has just came out last week? It's
Don't know, don't care. Next.
Not Spider Boy.
Hear me out. Hear
No
me
Spider Boy.
Hear me out. Spider-Man 7, first appearance of Spider-Boy. Everybody just been FOMO, so and so. And I've been listening to a lot of YouTube about this character, what they think. And pretty much everybody is bashing, saying this is not a good character. You know, why would you want to spend $40 on this book? You know, it's selling now. It's in hype. You know, it's done by so and so story writer. He's going to destroy it. So and so. Then I was just thinking to myself, it's like, but that's the same shit that they were saying that when Miles Morales came out in 2001.
I think it cut.
The difference is that Miles Morales was unmasked and that same issue. So you kind of had, I hate to say it, but the minority effect where he was like essentially the third Spider-Man overall? Or
But
something like
yeah, but he
So,
was the first.
yeah,
Black
No, because
Spider-Man.
you had Ben Wright, or you had the clone, right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ben Riley.
Uh huh.
So he's like the third Spider-Man overall, and he was,
If they, you know what? Okay, if you have a bunch of different Green Lanterns, but John Stewart was the one that made the jump. to being black. He's the, if they made another black Green Lantern, I don't think it would have the same effect. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I get that, and that's what I'm going at with this Spider-Boy is that what makes him different? What makes him what is he going to have that makes him relatable to whatever demographic this writer or Marvel is going to want him to be? Because at the end of the day, that's what they're going to go for is the demographics. What makes him money?
He's killable. He's gonna die.
No, so I mean,
To be the first superhero that stays dead. Made history.
But it was the same, pretty much same thing was said about Miles Morales when he first came out. Like, we
I
don't
disagree.
need a Spider-Man. We don't need why do we need a black Spider-Man? We don't need another Spider-Man. He's never gonna last. He's so and so and so. And they're saying the same thing about this character, Spider-Boy. Now, I'm not saying to get. I'm not saying
Spider-Boy in the same category as Ben Riley, because we didn't find out Ben Riley's. That the name Ben Riley to later on. That's who I would categorize Spider-Boy to more so than Miles.
Well, I think the quality of how they write the character and whether it's good and likable makes a big difference in a lot of that stuff too. Like Miles Morales is probably stuck around because a lot of people actually like him. And he seems to be a pretty well-developed character and a pretty good, so far from what I've read of it, what I like of it, like it's pretty well done. He seems to be a pretty good character, and I think that carries it a long way. And I think if you write something poorly, the character's not likable, and they're, just a bad character, poorly written, the stories are bad. Nobody's going to care about it in the long run, and it won't last in the long run. I think quality really matters, in those things.
Yeah, I mean, it's true because it's written by Dan Slott. I mean, he does fucking some terrible. I mean, he did some great stories, but recently, I mean, there's nothing really good about what Dan Slott has done. For Miles Morales is written by Brian Bendis, Michael Bendis. So, I mean, it's great storytelling. But it's just so funny. I was just amazed that same thing are being said about this character that what they have said decades ago about Miles Morales.
I don't think it'll have the same effect, Dave. That's just me though.
But that's the thing. I mean, the only time can tell. But what I'm saying is, just because you don't understand the character or so and so, why bash on it? Well, like how they were bashing on Miles Morales 20 years ago. And look what
I'm
happened.
not bashing. I just don't think it'll have this.
What do you want us to do?
Overall, what I saw on YouTube,
What do you want?
bashing.
What do you want us to do, Dave? You want us to go buy it?
No, don't. Dude,
What do you want?
spend your money where you want. I know. I just wanted to bring this out. What do you guys think? And
How many of
I'll tell you how I feel about every single speculation. Just buy it. Just buy it and put it on the side. That's it. Just buy the first appearance. You don't have to buy the story. You don't have to buy storyline. Just buy the first appearance. Put it away. That's it. Leave it alone. Conversation.
How many of you bought that? How many of you bought that Black Batman? That book. I forgot what it was called. It was like DC.
Black Batman?
Wait, hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. I just thought of something. Sorry, hold on. Has there been a precedent sent on a costumes hero's first appearance being valued more than his non-costume appearance?
I thought.
Are you saying they're being naked or not naked? What?
No, you're talking. I know what you're talking about.
I think like the first appearance of Carol Danvers might be more than Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel.
Ah,
Is Marvel Premiere 1 more valuable than Fantastic Four 67?
You look at history and see if how does that work out? Well, first appearance of the costume or first appearance of the identity.
Yeah, I feel like we've had this conversation a long time
yeah,
ago.
we
Yeah,
did.
David, you remember?
Yeah.
And I think we found some incidences where I guess what I'm getting at is like it kind of depends. Because there's incidences where, like, I think I just gave you the Carol Danvers one, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that one was worth more than the Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the flip side where the
No,
costume.
that's what I'm saying. And then there's the other way around too, where
Yeah.
like first appearance of Spectrum is worth more than the first appearance of Monica Rambeau or something. You know, kind of like that. Like I think.
Yeah, and I remember Gwen Stacy's first appearance was a lot more less.
Oh,
than first
actually,
appearance of Spider-Gwen.
Silk.
Yeah,
First
Silk.
appearance of Silk is worth more than first appearance of Cindy Moon.
Yeah,
Kind of a deal.
it's stupid.
Because Cindy Moon came out, I think, in number
Volume
one.
one.
Spider-Man- But yeah, well, not volume one, but yeah,
Volume 3.
whatever.
No, yeah. But I thought that was a cameo.
No. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
If that was a cameo first appearance, you want me to go downstairs? Oh yeah, that's fine. But
Future
yeah,
State. Sorry.
so there are some incidences where the first appearance of like Jessica Cruz, and then, or I don't know, there's been incidences, and it flip flops. It kind of depends on the character. What is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's why this is stupid. This whole comic book collecting of first appearance and coming appearance is stupid. Like even with Darkseid, that Jimmy Olsen, whatever the Neil Adam cover, how can that be more than his first full appearance, which the art and story was done by Jack Kirby?
I think. Oh no, I know what you're saying, David. I think it's because it got Superman on the cover there, and it's like a dramatic scene. The way that it's presented, I think it's. I guess it just stays with you more.
It's also
I think
genre
Carnage is
related.
Carnage is like that too, right? First appearance of Carnage is worth more than the first person of the what's his
Yeah.
name?
Yeah.
Cletus
Whatever.
Cassidy.
Yeah.
It's
It's worth,
yeah.
So Carnage is that first appearance of Carnage is worth more than the Cletus Cassidy.
It's stupid.
So, but there are incidences again where it flips the other way. First
That's why.
appearance of-
That's why it's
I
stupid.
remember
But
it
to
cost
me,
the hero first, and then the identity revealed, and the pricing dynamic on that.
it's so stupid. They're like first Silver Age appearance of Joker. Who the fuck cares?
well, for people that can't afford the first Joker.
Yeah, but if the first appearance in Silver Age comic,
I
then
can't
pretty
afford-
soon you say, oh,
I can't
first
afford
appearance
Captain
in
America number
Bronze
one.
Age comic. You're like,
Well, okay, listen, David. There's
Yeah.
there's some exceptions to what you're saying where it makes sense. All right, watch.
no, it makes
So the
completely
first-
sense. And there's
Watch.
no.
All right.
All right.
Do you know Red Tornado? The first Red
What I
Tornado
know,
from
Red
DC.
Look, I didn't even know there was a black fucking Batman.
Okay, look. So Red Tornado in the Golden Age was like this lady that put some cleaning equipment on her head, and it was like kind of like a funny gag character that they introduced into DC as part of the Justice Society of America. I think she
Okay.
was in like 3 issues before they like took her out. And then later on they switched it. They changed it into like an android type guy and reintroduced the character in the Silver Age after like 30 years or 20 years or whatever it was. And then they reintroduced it as a different type of character. So in that sense, I would say that it made sense to go after the Silver Age appearance of Red Tornado.
Yeah,
'Cause that's the one-
I mean, the whole character is different. They might use the same name, but the character is
No.
different.
They actually followed continuity, but they just changed the character. They made, instead of like this gag funny thing where it's like some lady wearing a mop helmet thing, they changed it into, okay, now we're going to pretend none of that happened. We're going to keep the continuity of this character's involvement in the line, but we're going to change who the character was. We're just going to assume, we're going to pretend it was an android now.
Human
Okay,
Torch.
but what about Joker? What about Clayface?
I agree.
Their story of the character has not changed. They didn't say, "Oh, whatever happened in the Golden Age, Joker is the same continuity," but they did not change this whole origin of it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
So
that's
I
what
don't
the
get
New
it.
52 was about.
It's tough. It's tough for people to afford. I guess that's part of it. Like that Avengers number 4.
Okay, I can understand you cannot afford it. If you cannot afford it, why would you want to spend thousands of dollars for fucking a first appearance of Joker in Silver Age? I mean, pretty soon you're gonna say a first Joker
I mean,
appearance in Bronze Age.
you gotta go get what you can get. Sometimes as a collector, man. I'm speaking for me. I get what I can get. You know, like if that's what you can
No, but
get,
I just don't like the fact that
you don't want to just throw away the hobby just because. Well, I can't get Action Comics #1, so why even try get anything else?
Well, so-
Superman.
You could try to.
I don't know. No,
You
it's
could
not
try
about
to-
the first- I just don't like the fact that they tagging this book as first Silver Age. Then they should do saying they should say like this is first Copper Age, first Bronze Age, first Modern Age. You know, they should do that. But why only do Silver Age, first appearance in Silver Age comic? They're like, I don't know. I mean,
Well, don't they kind of do that with the Joker?
Mhm.
I thought, like, with the Neil Adams, I kind of consider that the first.
Yeah, the Silver Age. No. They did Silver Age Two-Face. The first Silver Age Two-Face cover or
no,
something.
Neil Adams did all that. I think he did the first Silver Age of Joker. I think Neil Adams cover was that. Even with Clayface, that was also Neil Adams.
Was it all
But
Neil Adams?
what I'm saying is, why you would want to label that as first appearance in this modern era? You know,
I mean, it's
I
not super modern. Like, Silver Age
Like-
is still old. Like,
I would say for me, if I can't get the first appearance and the book is really expensive, let's just assume it's a really expensive book.
let's go with
You try-
Superman.
You try to get second appearance. If you can't get the second appearance, you try to get the #1 issue. If you can't get the #1 issue, maybe you get the origin story. Sometimes they have the origin published separate from the first appearance. Can't get the origin story, maybe you get the
Shouldn't be
first, like,
collecting comics.
yeah, no, there's always ways to kind of substitute if you can't get that first appearance.
I think there's a certain point where if you can't get something, maybe you should look at your finances. This is not the hobby.
I don't know.
I get what you're saying though, but it's just like
It's
you
to
keep on
me,
going
it's like
back to-
there's a lot of things in this hobby that I don't understand. It's like
God
why?
damn, David, it's been over 6 years. What don't you
And
understand?
still, I don't
The
get
thing-
it. I just don't
What
get
you're,
it.
What don't you understand? It's been
what
like
I don't
over-
understand is paying 5 times more for a price sticker being different. That's what I don't understand. Out of all the different things,
So you mean like there's a price stickered book and then
like if it says instead of 25 cents, it's 30 cents. You're gonna pay 5 times more because it says 30 cents. I don't understand that.
You talking about like the
Well,
variance, like the
you talking
35-cent variance or
about
something
supply
like
and
that?
demand, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about supply and demand, right?
Yeah,
I mean, at the
baby.
end of the day, that's what this hobby is. Right?
What happened, David?
I got my book back.
What?
9.8, baby, 9.8.
Is that the Mexican one?
It's a Turkish one, and it has the hologram.
Yeah, whatever.
You pulled one over on me, Dave.
How about your first Spider Boy? Let's see that one.
Yeah. He's looking for it.
It's in the bottom box.
It's in your vault, right?
No, the
That's
gold is
it.
the one that is just for my PC. But
Put it,
But I
put it
don't know,
next to
this-
Jessica Cruz book.
there's so many things that I don't understand that I want to question, but it's to a
I don't
point
know
where
why you still have questions, Dave. We've been doing this for the past 10 years, and every 5 years, it's the same freaking questions from different people. It's always the same thing, and the answers is always the same. I guess I don't get frustrated at new collectors because I understand they're new, but for people like you that's been in this game long enough, it's like CBA asking a question. Like, no, CBA doesn't get to ask any questions. He's been in this way too long. Like,
No.
he doesn't get to ask questions.
I just want to meet Scarlett Johansson. That's all I care about.
Okay.
But like for example, when he was asking why is a 25 cents book worth less than a 35, it's just supply and demand, man. It's as simple as that. That's what this hobby always comes down to, and what it always will come down to is supply and demand. We had this whole conversation back in the day versus newsstand versus non-newsstand, right? And then it was like, yeah, but if you go from 85 to before, then technically the newsstands is less. And then if you go after 85, then technically the newsstand is less, or sorry, the direct is less. And then 85, after 85, then the newsstand is less. So technically supply and demand, but then people want the newsstand because they could have been damaged more. And so it's just like,
But that's kind of a funny reason, right?
which one? No,
Either one.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
and it is a conversation that I remember that David and I looked at back in the day when we had this little 9.2 thing going on back in the day, and
Yeah.
it was like there was conversations, for example, that you were saying that didn't make sense. Like to me, if it's a direct edition from before 85, then it should be worth more, and if it's a newsstand from 85 and on, it should be worth more. But people would be like, no, it's newsstand. So
right.
newsstand. Go ahead.
Here's a question. Okay. So you have, and I think I've asked Hazel Dan this, or I've kind of discussed this topic before with the same example. You have, I don't know specifically what a Star Wars #1 35-cent variant, whatever. I know it's a lot of money. I don't know how much exactly, but let's just assume for this example that it's $19,000. If you ask the average, it's expensive. If you ask the average collector, I'm going to give you this #1 8.0 Star Wars #1 35-cent variant, or you can have this Hulk 181 in a 9.6. You think that, I don't know. That's kind of a funny choice, right?
Yeah, no, I got you, and I think it's just going to depend on the collector. There's people like Kingdom Comics. If you watch his Instagram or anything, he loves Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
He doesn't love it. He
I'm
loves
just saying.
he
No,
loves
I'm just saying. Hold
Ahsoka.
on. All I'm saying is that he particularly loves Star Wars, right? I'm
No,
not.
he
that
loves
big of a deal.
Ahsoka.
And then, whatever. Anyway, so he loves Star Wars, but me, I'd be more on the Hulk 181 side. So I'm not saying Kingdom's going to pick up that Star Wars one. I'm just saying that
He will
depends
pick
on
up the
collector.
first appearance of Ahsoka.
Well, I mean, you also got to remember, Alex, that 35-cent, that's like not a lot of people know that. Like your average, day-to-day collector don't know that. And, there was somebody that picked up a 35-cent Star Wars #1, but the person that sold it didn't realize the value of the 35-cent.
You're talking about Walking Jedi.
They thought it was just a regular #1. Here's an example for me. I bought it's not nowhere near the price of a Star Wars #1, but at Gotham City Sirens #1, but it was a variant, and they didn't realize it was a variant, but they sold it to me as a cover A.
Look
So
at you.
it's just, some people, the sellers might know what it is. Some sellers don't know what it
Is
is.
that the Gilliam March one?
Yeah.
Look at you, sexy. Look at you.
Motherfucker, you commented on it. Of course, this is like 3 years ago.
Look at you. Don't hurt him.
What would you choose though?
What would I choose?
What would you, of those two books, a 9.6 Hulk 181?
Star Wars #1 35-cent, and only because
Yeah.
I could pick up a Hulk 181 at any time.
So
In that grade though, in that grade.
You don't think there's a lot of 9.6s out there?
I know there are a lot.
Yeah, well, I could almost certainly. I could
You don't
almost
see a lot of.
just as many 9.6s as there is 35-cent variants.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
I remember
aside from the value, you don't ever see Star Wars 35-cent variants. Like there's not a whole lot of them out there, and there's not a whole lot of opportunities to get them, regardless of the price. Like they're just not out there to buy in a large abundance. And Hulk 181s, they're just all over the place.
Yeah.
It's the least rare book probably in the world.
And if you want a Hulk 181, you may not get the 9.6, but you could still get a copy in your collection
Yeah.
versus the
Right.
35-cent variant that, you know,
Yeah. So I think it's
You
just
guys don't know what
it's
you
really
guys talking about. Hulk 181 all the way.
You
How
just
come
gave, you
81?
just gave CBG like the biggest headache.
I just think that whole
No, but
that's
but see, the thing is, I'm-
a time.
See, the thing is, when I
literally.
started collecting, I started getting into like the rare books because of people like David and then,
Freddy's.
my other friends like Freddy's and stuff like that. So those books like pique my interest more than 81 would right now. But that's just me right now, right? Like I think there was a time I would have been all up in the 181, and I think being in the same boat as Kingdom, you know, whether you have it or have it or whatever it is, it's kind of like those books kind of pique my interest more. Now, 19,000 is a lot, yeah, and you know, but I'm just saying though that particular book piques my interest more now. So I don't know. I might still go for the 181, but I just think that book would.
I just think that
pique my interest
181
more.
is plentiful, and I can pick up a
Yeah, for sure.
181 anytime.
Yeah. I think I forgot who talked about it. I think it was I think CBA was talking to, who was it? What's that guy? Damn. Anyway, long story short, there's a lot of that book out there. I guess what you're saying, the 181. There's
I'm doing a little bit of David because I watch Automatic Comics occasionally, and he picked up a 35-cent. I just couldn't believe how much he spent on that book.
Mhm.
And I'm just thinking, like, of all the books that are out there,
What
And
was it?
I know-
Remember what it was?
what grade?
No, what book it was.
No, it was a Star Wars #1. It was the 35-cent. I think it was like a 6.0 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Was it signed?
he spent thousands on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Was
like,
it signed?
no, it was just universal grade. And I was like, I don't know, man. There are so many Golden
think
Age
you're-
books, and
Yeah, I think you're coming from a good place. I think you're coming from a collector's mentality, and I think you're coming from a person that sees it as a collection kind of a thing. But I think sometimes you have to kind of just see things from people's, like there's things that people have talked about on YouTube, and I'm like, what? Why would you like? I remember an Ultimate Fallout 4 Dirjovic 9.8 getting sold, and someone bought like a 1.5 Fantastic Four #1 or something like that. Like they sold the dirt, and then I was just like, in my head, I was like, that is a horrible deal. Like it's like, I don't care the Fantastic Four was like this big thing, but for them personally, like that was, for them personally, that was like a big thing. Like they didn't care about the 9.8. They didn't care about the Miles Morales. They didn't care about the Dirjovic. So I looked at it from like my point of view, which is kind of like how you're looking at it. Like I thought it was a dumb investment. And if you look at the monetary value as the years went on, it was a horrible investment. It was a bad investment, bad trade. But at the same time, this is this person's collection. This is what they like, and this is what they really, really cherish, and they hold on to that book. So it's like, okay, well, who am I to, like give an opinion on
Well,
somebody
that's
else's
just
collection?
like me. I mean, me and Spawn, I would spend ridiculous amount of Spawn, while other people would be like, why in the flying fuck are you spending that much money on Spawn?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
first of all,
You're
like-
crazy.
are you talking about that black and white cover? The rare
well, there's a whole bunch of black and white cover. You talking about the 185 Potasio, or you're talking
No,
about
it was I mean the number Spawn #1, the
Yeah.
black and white.
Yeah. I mean,
From when it was like,
yeah, I had that book, but if I didn't have that book, that would be a book I would
There
go
you
at.
go.
I love
Do you
that.
have, Tito? Do you have a Malibu Sun, the 13 with the error?
No, it's a regular. I actually got gifted that by Mark Walters.
It's a nice book.
Yeah, like Spawn is like I think King of the Golden State found a 185
I'm
Potasio.
crazy.
If
What's
I
a
would've
bad-
known
what
that
is a
he found
bad
that, I would've
investment?
bought that back. I would have bought it, and that book is worth thousands of dollars.
King is asking me what is a bad investment. I mean, I think you kind of know what a bad investment is, King. I don't think I have to explain to you, but basically, I would say, just in general, just like something that goes down.
Bad
in value.
investment.
David.
Yeah, the perfect example. Bad investment. I just think that anything that goes down in value, but then
Bad investment.
See, hey, Kung Fu, I disagree. Like, I would spend thousands of dollars on Spawn, and then it's not an investment. It's just a character that I like.
It's a personal grail that goes to your PC. It's all
Yeah.
yeah, and then so I mean, when I'm talking about like investment, I'm looking at it from like an actual just collector's point of view because
Well,
when
that's what I'm
people,
saying.
people
Yeah,
ask me for when
look
people
at
ask me for comic advice, when
Flexing.
people ask me
Look
for
at you
comic advice,
flexing.
I always have to ask them like, do you want me to talk to you as like a friend, or do you want me to talk to you as a like more of a collector? Because you're gonna get two different answers from me, depending on what if somebody goes, hey, should I buy this versus this, or should I trade this in, or what if I trade all of this for this? What do you think? I'm like, well, what do you want me to talk to you as? Like, I have to be, I have to play. There's two roles that I have to play when people ask me these things.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like,
Yeah, I need to know, because if it's a friend thing, then I'm gonna want to know everything about you and your
Yep.
collection and
Yep.
what do you cherish and what do you want. And at the end of the day, when you wake up and you look at your wall or you open up your boxes, like what are you gonna enjoy and cherish? Versus like somebody asked me, well, like I want to make sure that I have a good like investment for my family. Okay, well then you might get a different
yeah.
answer from
Yeah,
me.
no, I'm with you on that. That's it. Like, when people ask me, I'm like, okay, what is it that you're trying to do? Like,
Yeah.
No, yeah, and I'm not projecting my own. I'm not doing that. Well, personally, that's an element of the purchasing decision for me. There's an investment aspect to it. I never just buy something purely because it's just my thing and I like it, and it doesn't matter what it's worth or what the investment. There's always that aspect of it involved when I purchase something. Is this going to be a wise thing in the future? And that the percentage will differ. I might play in like 15-20% of the decision, but if it's something I totally love and I'm willing to kind of go in there, but it's still worth something in the end. If someone's asking $1,000 for an otherwise $10 book, I'm not stupid. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. No, I'm never going to do that. I know that there are books that like have nostalgic value, but there's always that investment aspect for it. For me, at least, when I purchase a book.
Yeah, and that's a great way of doing it. I think that's a fantastic way of building a solid collection, And again, that's just my personal point of view. I think that's just a great way of building. And then bad investment. There you go. Bad investment. David's just full of them. David is just one bad investment after another. That's all this guy is, man. That's all this guy is.
You gotta love the character, man.
Hey, it's a first print.
Yeah,
And I
it's
will
the
say,
first
like in
print.
your example, we would pick the Hulk 181 for our collection.
Yeah.
But I could see why someone would want something that's like more rare.
More
and
rare,
like,
yeah. I like
But
rare books.
here's the thing, though. To me, okay, so the same Star Wars thing. I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's because there are so many universal copies, or I shouldn't say universal, just the 30 cent, right? The regular price.
Yeah.
There are thousands of those already. It's just that price thing. It doesn't feel like it's truly, to me, it doesn't feel like true rarity. True rarity to me means there's only like 40 copies in existence. There's only 40 that are existing, right? Something like that to me feels rare.
Yeah,
But
but
if
there's
there's-
not a lot of books like
Only
that. that have
600.
Kind of you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
For a modern, that's good.
Yeah,
For a modern, that
600,
is.
not bad. And it comes with a hologram sticker in the back.
David, are you lonely? Are you mad
How
because we're
many-
not letting you talk, David?
How many of those were printed, the original Georgievic covers?
Tons.
How many?
Tons. There's a lot.
It wasn't like 1,000-to-1 ratio or something like that?
One
Or
of the 25, and they print the crap out of the Ultimate Fallout in the polybag in the first and the second print. So
Okay.
It's to a point where Diamond couldn't even distribute them out to LCS. So what they did was they just sold it to like wholesalers, like
Five Below.
yeah, Five Below. I mean,
There are
five
there
boxes.
are rare, yeah, but there are rare moderns like Albedo too, right? They only printed like what 3,000 of those, or something like that.
I thought there was only 1,000 of that albedo number 2. Or
Okay,
albedo
then
number
even
3.
less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this hobby, you have to stay on top of it. It's a very interesting hobby. I remember one of the craziest ones was X23 number 1 Delato 9.8 versus NYX3 number 1. And I remember for the longest time, the variant was actually going for more. I don't know where the two books are now standing, but I remember there was a time that the variant from Delato
Was it the same cover?
No, two separate covers. So X23 number 1 was a Delato, and the NYX3 was a Middleton, and so it was just I just remember at one point the X23 was going for more. It was a variant, but it wasn't even her first appearance. It was like her first series, and
Oh,
it actually
okay.
wasn't even the most highest ratio
I was
variant.
about to say. You
There
still
was
got
a Derjovic
Yeah.
that was at 175,
Yeah.
but because the cover was just I guess better, it
Yeah,
went actually more
175
than the
was a pretty good
NYX3, and which I still think is a very undervalued comic book that still needs to be picking up. But that's another story for another day. But yeah, so I mean, this market, it gets weird. Like this market just gets really weird, and trying to figure out what is, and it comes down to one thing, right? Supply and demand. And at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, you can answer almost every single question with supply and demand. Why 180 versus 181? You know, supply and demand. You know, one will supersede the other. Demand usually will supersede the supply. So it's, you know, you got that 300 versus 299 conversation. I mean, so many different conversations keeps on popping up. Newsstand versus non-newsstand. I mean, it just goes on and on. Look at David playing with his toys again. Go ahead.
I think art plays into it though too.
Oh, for sure.
The cover art.
For sure.
Well, that's
think-
why for so long that Delato was going for more than that 175 because the cover art alone.
The cover art was way better. The Derjovic cover is doo-doo, in my opinion.
Well, it's a connecting cover. That's why. But I think that 175 finally beat Delato.
Yeah. It is, yeah, now, right?
Yeah, I think it finally beat it.
Is it because it connects to the Ultimate? Does it connect to Ultimate Fallout 4 or something else?
No,
No.
I
What does,
think
what does it connect to?
It connects to some X-Men comic.
I think I've seen it one time.
Yeah, it's a 6 book, but it just spreads out through.
I still think that Delato is a lot better cover, though.
oh yeah.
That's just my personal opinion.
So I remember we talked about this. Is that certain keys when it comes to first appearances it just happens to have a better cover that fetches more pennies. Going back, for ASM 300, better cover than 299. Hulk 181 has a better cover than 180. Things like that. I mean,
X-Men 266, Annual 14.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
There's so many examples.
Yeah, like the X23 Delato, it goes more than the actual first appearance of Kenny, Laura Kenny.
But even books like New Mutants 98. So you have New Mutants 98, right? Then you have New Mutants 98 newsstand. Then you have New Mutants 98 newsstand, but it was with the Mark Jeweler insert.
Mark Jeweler.
Then you have the New Mutants 98 with the newsstand
Canadian.
with Mark Jeweler insert and double cover. Like it just goes on and on and on and on. It's just like it never it doesn't stop.
HTBA, Golden State got something for you in the comments.
Oh, I can't see comments.
It
Oh,
says
right here.
Scarfield's good Black Widow investment. Hey, what is your favorite Black Widow book, cover, story, whatever?
I have a Djurjevic cover signed by Stan Lee. That's my favorite.
Which one is that?
I have a Djurjevic Black Widow cover signed by Stan Lee.
Oh, nice.
And my favorite story is the one that just won the Eisner, the one with the Adam Hughes covers. But I'm kind of getting retired now. I don't I'm not into it anymore. I'm not buying new comics as much. I'm definitely not slabbing, that's for sure. And I'm not going to cons.
Yeah, I think MegaCon will probably be the only con, either MegaCon or Fan Expo will be the only cons I go to from here on out.
I do want to meet Jenny Frizen one day, though. I see her at cons a lot. You know, she's always out there, but I haven't had a chance to meet her.
I heard she's very, very attractive.
Thank you. Of course, I'd like to meet Alex Ross, but he never does conventions. So.
I heard he's really, really attractive.
Yeah, I heard he's doing a private signing at for what, CGC?
I
Alex
don't want to do
Ross.
that. That's no fun.
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right? There's no experience, right? There's
No experience.
You get
But
the
I
signal.
remember meeting Marjorie Liu. I mean, I thought she was pretty hot.
Who? Who did you meet?
Oh, what? I think she did Montress.
Oh yeah, I met her. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
nice. She's very attractive too.
Yeah, she's tall.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
is.
tall. Yeah, I met the husband too. Then I was thinking, damn.
I met her with the artist of Monstrous. What's the artist name? Sana.
Sakata.
Yeah. I met them at Berkeley. Very nice.
All right, well, you guys got about 30 minutes before The Mandalorian comes on, so like, you gotta watch me The Mandalorian.
Ahsoka is not on that show yet.
How many more episodes we got?
It's season finale.
Tonight's the finale.
Yeah.
That's this,
Wait,
we haven't watched this
18
season.
out already.
All I heard was two people talking.
Oh. I was just asking if the season. We haven't watched this season yet. I was just asking if it's any good.
I'll let you decide that.
Okay.
It's not my favorite season. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah.
It just goes around and around and around and around. It kind of recycles itself. So I mean,
No, it definitely doesn't recycle itself. I can tell you that.
I don't know.
Not season 3. Season 3 is a whole different ball game. It's just like
I don't know. I thought it was pretty fun. I
I
think
was
it's
like,
pretty.
Yeah, I mean, it's an entertaining series. It's to a point like, why did we start watching this? I mean, that's what I got from watching it. Like,
you're
Why-
just
why
not a
do you
Star
watch
Wars
this again?
person. That's all it is.
Grogu's cute as hell, man.
The only one I'm watching right now is Star Trek Picard. The season finale is this
Oh,
Thursday.
bro! Oh my God, that's such a good show. Like,
It's the first 2 seasons weren't that great, but this season's just amazing.
and I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bitch in season 1 and 2 finale. I was shedding a tear like a motherfucker. Not even gonna lie.
I don't know. If you guys want to watch a good show, go watch Night Agent. It's pretty good on Netflix.
That shit was the most teeny bopper shit you'll ever watch. That's like
Yeah, that's what fucking good.
That's like Melrose Place. That's like fucking Beverly Hills 90210 on steroids.
I'm sorry, man. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, all right? I
So
I
did I.
love this
That's why I said all that.
How about that show at the Court of Owls? Who's watching that? The Gotham. What is it called? Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights?
Is that good?
I don't know. I don't have
I didn't know that
CW.
was out. What's that on?
CW, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, CW.
Man, DC is just all over the place when it comes to these stuff. They ain't got nothing. They
I
got
didn't
nothing.
mind
Nothing.
Titans. Titans wasn't too bad.
They got everything. Just like all, just it's so messed up. I feel bad
Lois
for them.
is legit though.
Huh?
Well, I'm just watching Riverdale.
Yeah.
Riverdale.
Superman and Lois is pretty legit.
No, I know. Every once in a while they come out with a gem. You know, the one with John Cena was pretty fun. I had fun
Oh,
with
I
that.
love-
He watches Riverdale.
I watched like the first 2 seasons of Riverdale, and then
I don't like it.
The first 2 seasons were better, but I like this because it's got like the time jump. So
I like Archie, but I don't think.
I'm just waiting for the new season of Great British Bake Off. So whatever. If I don't get a new season of Great British Bake Off, I'm gonna be upset, man. If you guys haven't watched the Great British Bake Off on Netflix, you are missing literally the best thing on Netflix.
Oh man.
Is that with that Frankenstein host guy that's kind of funky looking? Like a really tall guy with weird hair?
Possibly,
He's a British
yeah.
guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this really funky looking guy on there.
Best
All I know
thing.
is that when it comes to like Star Wars or Star Trek, I think the best one that I've seen so far was Andor. Just hands down one of the best freaking like Star Wars series I ever watched. Andor. I'm just glad the season 2 is on the way.
You know what is amazing is how much Star Wars I watch, and I still don't know what the hell's going on, or who is who. I just watch and enjoy. Don't ask me nothing. I don't know who this is and that
Like,
is.
Hey, did you guys watch Clone Wars, the animated series?
I love that show.
I could not pass season 1.
I couldn't get past the first episode. Just
It's like
couldn't get to it.
I know Tito's gonna say something, but I just couldn't handle Ahsoka.
You got to get past
I
that.
gotta stick with it.
It does
I'm
get better,
sorry.
but
I tried.
yeah,
I went back.
try
I
harder, David.
just could not
Try harder.
pass Ahsoka. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She reminds me of Kylo Ren watching freaking Return of the. What was that? It's like watching Kylo Ren and like having his fits. You know, just
Yeah.
breaks everything. You know, it's
I
just.
like Kylo Ren.
I like Kylo Ren too.
I don't know. I kind of like Kylo Ren. He puts it like all in like this
No man,
like
he's
real,
he's a-
real perspective of what like you know like what could actually happen.
He's like a nagging bitch. Like he's like watching me. It's like watching myself. If I had a lightsaber, that's probably what I would do. Wow, you know, just I
Your
don't know.
cash register.
Part of it is saying like her arc and her growth. Like
Well, Luke Skywalker, he was kind of whiny early on too.
that's true.
You know, he was kind of a whiny bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Star Wars. You know, I went back
Yeah.
to watch New Hope. He was a whiny bitch.
He was whiny, dude. But he grows on you. You know, he grows up and matures.
He grows up.
Yeah, like I realized all these Star Wars movies has all these whiny bitches. You
Well,
got,
hey,
you got
well,
Luke
this is the way,
Skywalker,
man.
Kylo
This is
Ren,
the way.
you got Anakin Skywalker, and you got Ahsoka.
Really
Like all
does.
whiny, like I don't know.
Anakin was probably the whiny one.
That's probably why a lot of them died off, right?
Yeah.
True,
Yeah, I think Anakin's probably the whiniest.
probably.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He didn't even like sand.
We just called Darth Vader whiny.
Yeah, the Anakin Skywalker back in the prequels and stuff, he was pretty whiny, like complaining about sand and all kinds of stuff.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
You know,
if
You know,
even
George
if,
Lucas actually addressed that, and if you ever watch that interview that he did, because somebody asked why Anakin was so whiny,
Yeah.
George actually responds to that, and David, go watch it so you can shut the hell up about the whole thing. You can understand why he was whining.
all right.
Because that's how he was written to be like that. but there was a reason why.
Something to do with a favor for getting the part or something, or
Something to
No,
do with
it
his,
had to do with Anakin's upbringing, being a slave, mother dying, and all like anti-socialism and shit.
something to do with his father not letting him look at his comic collection, and
There
then
you
he
go.
died,
He has to sell them all now.
and then he
It's a
finally
real
gets
burden.
all the collection. Now he's all whiny about it.
Oh man, that's great. Hey, I guess we're done for tonight, huh? We've been on for about a good 2.5 hours. So, you guys want to say goodbye before I end this broadcast?
Hold on. And is anybody? Oh no, never mind. Disregard.
No, go ahead. What was that?
No, because I just remember Hazelton hadn't seen season 3, so I didn't want to spoil anything.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, we haven't seen it
I
yet.
haven't seen it actually.
No spoiler.
I
Yeah.
only missed last week's one. I got to catch up on that one.
Yeah.
All right. So, go watch. What was that? Star Trek? What? Picard?
Card.
Shit. Watch
Yeah.
Star Trek Picard. Watch Star Trek Discovery. Watch Star Trek A Strange New World. Watch all them bitches.
The most gangster nerd.
Yeah. Well, trust me, Star Trek not gonna have any whiny bitches. So,
Will Wheaton was a.
hey guys, thank you very much. Aloha. Shoot.
Shoots.
Yeah, nice talking to you guys again.
Are we done? We still